My name is Kitty Puls, and I was born on August 23rd, 1919, in a little white house in the town of McDougal. My life was very simple on the farm. We did not have electricity or any running water or anything like that in our house, so we had a lot of different chores to do, which were different from today. We had to go pump the water from the pump and bring it in the house and put it on a stove to heat it, and even be able to wash dishes or take a bath. So life was really very simple in the country. In the kitchen, right in front of the stove where it was warm, just in a big wash tub, which was once a week. We had to get our hair washed and have a Saturday night bath. We had an outhouse, which was like a little bathroom outdoors. 2 holes in it. And cold, no heat, no water, catalog for toilet paper many times. In our home, we had no furnace for heat. We had what they called a stove. Ours would have to be a nice looking stove. It almost looked like a Victrola or something. We had that in the living room, so that we had one room that was warm. Of course, the stove in the kitchen kept the kitchen warm. And stovepipes leading up to the bedrooms upstairs is what took a little of the chill off of the upstairs rooms. I remember warming up our beds at night with what we called a soapstone. It was just like a small brick that we would put in the oven and get it really hot, and then we put a little covering over it, like a flannel or something, and we'd take that and put it in our beds and put it all over the bed first, but then leave it at the foot of the bed where we'd put our feet on to keep our feet warm at night when we were sleeping. Because we had no electricity in the house, we had what we called lamps, and of course they were not very bright. We did all of our work, what we did in the home, from washing dishes to cooking, with lamplight when it was dark. We had a record player in our day, and it stood quite tall, probably 4 feet tall or more. And you had a cover on it. We put the cover up, put the record on, wind it up on the side. Well, I guess we wound it up until it couldn't wind anymore. And then we turned it on and listened to the music. It was really nice music. It was called a Victrola, so I don't know if that was the name of it or not. But we called it a Victrola, so I think that was the name of a company at one time, too. We did have a radio, just a small radio. We listened to the news, I remember, at nighttime and during our dinner time. And then Amos and Andy would come on, very funny and made us laugh, and we never wanted to miss that. Every night we had to turn on Amos and Andy.
Tell me, the way we is going now, we is just starving to death, that's all.
Now listen, Amos, you just stick to me and you'll be rich. What would you think if you'd wake up some morning and put your hand in your pants pocket and find a roll of $20 bills?
I wouldn't think nothing. I'd know I had on somebody else's pants, that's all.
We had a telephone. It was on the wall. And it was one of these telephones that when it rang, you could really listen in onto other people's conversation, which wasn't a nice thing to do. And everybody had their own ring. Our ring was like 1 long and 3 short. My father was a farmer who raised all kinds of oats, wheat, corn. I don't think we had barley, but some of our neighbors did. When these things were ready to be harvested, all the neighbors would come in and help each other. So my mother would cook a meal for like 14, 15 men from all over the neighborhood, and they'd come and help my father get the harvest things where they should be, and I had to always help with the meal. In the fields, when we were harvesting the crops, we always used horses. Horses pulled the load of hay, pulled all the machinery that we had, We had two big old horses. Even when my mother would be helping him unload the hay, she used the horses to pull the hay up into the hay mow. My mother was my father's helper because he didn't have any sons. My sister did a lot of the work, but my mother was his helper. She would drive the horses when they would get the hay off of the wagon and get it in the barn. And it was really heavy work because she had to turn the horses around and bring that thing that goes connected with the horses. It was really heavy work. But she did that every summer. My sister usually did the driving of the horses because she did a better job than I did. You had to be very careful when you turned the horses to make a turn that you didn't tip the wagon over. And I wasn't too sure of what I would do with that. And so she usually drove. I walked behind the hay loader and picked up all the hay that the hay loader missed and threw it up on the hay loader. That was my job. We also had cows, probably 15 or 20, and they were mostly Holstein cows. We never had New Jersey cows. They were always just the black and white ones. In the early days, we milked the cows by hand. Not me, but my father and his help that he had. And then he did buy a milking machine in later years. That made the milking much easier, but the cows always had to be stripped, what they called after the milking machine was taken off because it couldn't get all the milk out. So then my father and mother, and I think even my sister helped a little bit with that, of stripping the cows afterward.
No piggy.
Stripping means that they did this by hand, milking the whole cow, the whole, udder, I guess it was. They just had to strip them after to make sure that all the milk was out. That's what stripping meant. I can still see my mother sitting on a stool down by the cow, stripping and getting the last little squirt of milk that she could get.
There were hard times in America, but still she found some way. She walked to school every day. In that one room she learned her ABCs. Only a baked potato for her lunch, but it warmed her to the core. On Sunday she'd sing her praise to Jesus for everything they had. It might not seem like much when love is all you've got, but gold will never feed your soul. It might not seem like much when love is all you've got, but gold will never feed your